This rooster, he's good for protecting the hens. He's not good for just about everything else.
Form the pellicle, Henry.
The pellicle. It sounds like a Viking war technique.
This isn't normal. And it's not good. And I think he may need to die. When we got our first batch of chickens, when we moved here onto the Yosted about 2 years ago, we got 12 from a local store, 12 chicks. And they were all hens, supposedly. They were all female chicks. But there was one that acted a little differently than all the rest. Hey, Turkey Gang. Hey, Turkey Gang. How's your food? How are you guys? You got water? Man, you guys are getting big. We called that chick, we didn't know it was a rooster at the time, we called that chick Fighter because every time we put our hand in the little brooder box, that chick would come running up and fight the hand. So we thought it was funny and cute, so we called that little chick Fighter. Well, fast forward a couple months, 5 or 6 months, we heard a crow out here. Turns out our little Fighter hen chick was actually a rooster. Well, some time passed and we learned to live with Fighter. Fighter was a nice addition to our flock. Kind of marshaled the hens whenever there was a hawk flying over and he got their attention, and he was good at protecting them. He still is good at protecting them. Whenever there's a threat to the hens that enters the chicken pen here, he's the first to run up and evaluate that threat and take care of that threat. Here's the problem though. I'm not a threat. I'm there to take care of the chickens. Holly's not a threat. Nana Jana's not a threat. My parents are not a threat. We're there to take care of these chickens. One thing I'm especially worried about is once Henry is old enough to get out here and play with the chickens, this dude, Fighter, is going to attack him. That's something I really am not going to let happen. Now, one thing I'll say about Fighter, when he kicks us, when he kicks me, you'll notice that I always stick my boot out just to kind of give him some distance. People have asked, and I'm here to tell you, I don't actively just run up and do a soccer kick on Fighter. I never do that. I will always just, when I'm entering, and I'll show you an example of it, when I'm entering the chicken pen, like this, and he comes up to me, I stick out my foot, just like that. I let him attack my foot with my boot on it. Sometimes I'll push him off a little bit just to get him back a ways. So that's one thing I do need to make clear is I never just rear back and soccer punt him. I never do that. It's always just a defense move that I have to keep him at bay. And it hurts, man. That guy's got some talons on the back of his legs, and those things, he uses those as weapons when he does his little kick move on me. And like I said, they hurt. They're not fun to feel. So I'm getting to the point where I really do need to start thinking about making a decision with Fighter. I'd like another rooster, maybe a more gentle rooster. Now that Henry's getting older, Henry's starting to kind of stand up and toddle, we're gonna want him, he's gonna be out here hanging out with the chickens. I do not want that rooster coming up and attacking him. We've got the fence up, but even with the fence up, there's still an opportunity where Fighter might see Henry as a threat and charge him over the fence or run through the fence, because Fighter does jump out of the fence occasionally. I need to come to a decision. Do I neutralize that threat of Fighter on my son before it becomes a lot more dangerous? And honestly, I'm leaning towards giving him just a little bit more time, but I think he's got his date with Destiny here probably within the next month or two. One thing I will say is that I was on the verge of calling one of my chickens Limpy, who one of the commenters actually suggested a great name for Limpy, Eileen, short for I-lean, like I'm leaning over. I don't know if I can see Eileen walking around, limping around, but we decided not to call her because I thought she was really sick and something was wrong with her. Turns out she just had injured her foot. She's still eating, she's still drinking, she's still laying eggs. I'm glad I kept her around. But in terms of Fighter, this rooster, he's good for protecting the hens. He's not good for just about everything else. None of us can go in this run without him charging us and attacking us. It's not pleasant to go in the run because he's always charging after us. So I think here very soon, I'm gonna take care of Fighter. What I'd like to do, ideally, is maybe get another rooster. Maybe one that's a little more gentle. We'll still protect the hens, but won't attack us. Anyways, I'll keep you guys updated, but I think I've made up my mind up here. We need to get rid of Fighter, and probably soon. I just want to show our bacon journey, Henry. Is that okay? Is that okay, buddy? Beep. Yeah, you want this? You gotta film yourself? Yeah. Also, look at this, guys. What do we got sprouting up? Arugula, mustard, and those up there are the fabled tatsoi, which I know I've worked up in my previous videos, but that workup is going to be worth it. As many of you know, we processed 2 pigs on our homestead a little over, has it been 2 months? It's been 2 months now since we processed Franken beans here on the homestead with the help of a lot of good friends in the homestead YouTube world. Suffice it to say, we still have plenty of meat left in our freezers. We have our outdoor freezer over here, that little guy, and we also have a big stand-up freezer inside, plus the freezer on the side of our fridge. And there's a lot of meat still, a lot of pork. We've been going through a lot of pork. One thing that we haven't done yet is make bacon. Holly has actually taken over the bacon making process. She's using some kind of method that I had never heard of, but that she had looked up and heard good things about. And I wanted to talk about this method. I wanted to learn about it because, frankly, I don't really know what she's doing. She just took over with the pork belly and she's making bacon. So let's go talk to her and see what the bacon making process is all about.
So I heard you guys are making bacon.
We are making bacon.
Hey, Henry. Hi, buddy.
He's teething and drooling all over the place.
Yes. So let's hear about this bacon making process that you've been up to.
Bacon making, yes. We finally are putting some of our pork belly to use. That's been the one cut that's been sitting there in the freezer. I've been too intimidated to work with it so far, but once you get the process going, it's not that bad. So there's lots of different recipes out there and ways to make bacon. I found a recipe online that doesn't use the cure, the nitrates or whatever. And I wanted to avoid those if possible. So this, you just do a dry rub of salt, sugar, garlic, pepper, rosemary, and then you seal it up and it goes in the fridge for 5 to 7 days to cure. Once that's done, you test it. I think you leave it out open in the fridge to form the pellicle, which...
Form the pellicle, Henry.
The pellicle. It sounds like a Viking war technique, which is the skin around the bacon. And then from there, I think we smoke it and we refrigerate it and we slice it. But anyway, it's our first time doing it. We don't know if it's going to turn out good, but if it turns out like the rest of everything we've cooked, I think it'll be really yummy and we're excited to try it.
Speaking of other pork products, you're actually making something for dinner from our dear friends Franken Beans, some
Yes.
Asian sausage, and it smells
Well, I guess it just sounds funny when you say
Asian
that.
ground pork, and it's really, really good. It smells incredible. If you
Yeah.
guys could smell what I'm smelling, walk us through this colorful medley that I see here.
So this is ground pork with cabbage, kale, pepper, onion, and then I've also added a bunch of different things into it: rice vinegar, sesame oil, salt, garlic, red pepper, 5-spice powder, Chinese spice powder, and then gochugaru, which is I'm probably botching. Henry wants some.
Careful,
probably
bud.
botching the pronunciation.
Careful.
It's a Korean red pepper, but it is very yummy. We're gonna have it with a little bit of rice, and it's a nice way to use up that ground pork that isn't just breakfast sausage, which we also love, don't we? Don't we?
Yeah.
You want to show him your teeth?
Let's see them
Do you
teeth.
want to show your teeth?
Coming through.
There's 2 bottom teeth.
Oh, you can kind of see them.
He doesn't like showing
He's
them off.
shy.
He's like, stop looking at my teeth.
We will show you the next step in the bacon making process later this week. I'm
Hopefully.
excited about it. I'm gonna have to burn off the pellet maker,
Yes.
Henry. That was a technique that Nate
Pellet
Kramer,
grill.
the pellet grill, because it's due. So we'll do that later. Right? Some folks may remember that we'd been having trouble with our four-wheeler, Nana Jana's four-wheeler. It would skip whenever we hit the throttle. Well, that led us down a long and perilous journey through Google until we actually got to the point where we ended up replacing the carburetor. Still had the same issue after we replaced the carburetor. Pressed the throttle, it would skip whenever we tried to accelerate. Turns out, and both Nana and Jana and I feel very silly, the issue was bad gas. We siphoned the gas out of the tank here, put new gas in, and it works like a charm. I don't know why bad gas does that to the system, but that's what happened. So now we got a fully functional four-wheeler again, which is nice. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Until we see you again next time, we'll have some exciting things coming up in the next month. Stay tuned. But until then, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.